739 years, a few hours before. Broly in his beautiful spaceship sat quietly to observe the space landscape while meditating quietly in his true Saiyan form and expanding his N as much as possible. An N that measured more than 1 light year in diameter. While Kid was still traveling at a high speed, Broly's N came into contact with the planet he was heading to. Planet Earth. In Broly's N, apart from planet Earth, he also caught something else that was directly approaching the planet. It was a small spacecraft with a spherical shape, and inside it was a small child asleep, a boy of barely 3 years old with an armor of Frisia's army with a tail. He was Kakarot, that we would later know as Son Goku. The fucking protagonist, Dragon Ball, and possibly one of the most famous and beloved characters in history. Broly, observing all the Earth and surroundings, was able to observe how Goku's spaceship reached the planet, how it crashed near Gohan's house, and how he picked it up and adopted him. At the same time, he was also able to see another important point in the story. The meeting of Jaco, the useless galactic patrolman, who came to Earth to eliminate Goku, the evil Saiyan from the planet Vegeta. Tights, Bulma's older sister, the one that threw Jaco into the water at the exact moment that Goku's spaceship appeared in the sky, thus saved Goku's life from dying at the hands of Jaco. Finally, yet importantly, Dr. Amori, the one that created a machine capable of stopping time, which laid the foundations of the time machine that Bulma would create in an alternative future. I didn't expect to arrive this day. If my calculations don't fail, I should reach the ground right then. I wanted to go unnoticed for now, but... what the hell? This can be fun, and I doubt that the future will change much. If I regret, I can always erase their memories, said Broly as he transformed. 739 years now. Hello, my name is Broly, nice to meet you. The three were baffled. With the information they all had about the Saiyans, no one would expect such a positive and friendly attitude from him. Tights and Amori looked at Jaco, who had also been surprised, but immediately played his role again. Jaco confidently said, I was waiting for you, evil Saiyan. Did you think you could hide from me, the peacekeeper of the galaxy, the chosen super elite galactic patrolman Jaco? Jaco said, making his usual stance. Although internally he was thinking. I thank the heavens that he is a child. If he were an adult, I would have to run for my life. Broly sarcastically replied, this, of all that you just said, was your name? Then he turned to Tights and Amori, who were hiding behind a rock, and asked them, is your friend always so weird? Tights and Amori nodded unconsciously and asked Jaco. Jaco. Are you sure this is the brutal evil alien you told us about? It doesn't seem very hostile, he seems quite nice, in fact, more friendly than your. Jaco, somewhat offended by those last words, said, don't be fooled by his appearance, the Saiyans are a brutal race, they only love blood and destruction, if I leave him alive in a few years the entire human race will be finished. You're lucky that I, the peacekeeper of the galaxy, the chosen super elite galactic patrolman Jaco, is here expressly to finish him off, said Jaco, doing if typical pose, one more time. Then Broly melodramatically said, you're a disgusting racist. Just because a few thousand Saiyan do that, doesn't mean we're all the same. I only come here to improve my life and to look for a job, I don't want to cause any harm to anyone, and I'm not a criminal for it. You are a fascist. No one expected words like those, which caught everyone by surprise. Especially Jaco, stuck in his position, he felt the bad person in the movie right now. What? I am what? Said Jaco, feeling aggravated. Broly, continuing with his melodramatic attitude, said, I said that you're a racist. You know, there are only two things that I hate in this universe. People who are intolerant with other races and cultures. And the fucking frost demons, that race should be exterminated from the universe. Ha 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 ha, he laughed loudly. They were petrified, they didn't understand that little strange child pretended. At first he was an abominable and destructive being, but he presented himself in a very curt manner, then he seemed offended, and now he was, joking. They didn't know very well how to react. Come on, haven't you caught it? That joke was good. Well, I guess if you don't know the cold demons, and without having seen Austin Powers 3. It's not so funny, said Broly, scratching his head. Jaco, feeling insulted, adopted a strange combat pose and said, enough of nonsense, I have to finish this mission, repair my spaceship and return home. I don't plan to have mercy, even if you are a child. Wah, he shouted as he rushed at Broly, doing a flying kick. However, when he was a few inches away from him, he felt as if he had frozen in the air. Broly was using his telekinesis against him. What happens? It's you. Let me go, do not you know who I am? However, before Jocko could continue with his usual speech, Broly using his telekinesis had Jocko spin around on his own. Drop me please, said Jocko, but it was hard to understand him. In a few seconds Jocko, extremely dizzy and unconscious, fell to the ground. Tights and Amori got a little scared, because of what happened, but they did not panic, they waited for Broly to talk. He's been so satisfying. I wanted to do something like that from the first moment I saw him appear in the story. I will introduce myself again, my name is Broly, I am 3 years old and I have decided to stay on this planet for now. Nice to meet you, said Broly respectfully, trying to appear innocent and lovely. Amori took courage from where he could and advanced towards Broly. I am called Takunishin Amori and she is Tights, nice to meet you. Tights approached and while puncturing the dizzy Jocko with a stick asked, this. Jocko is fine. Don't worry, I just made him a little dizzy, he was getting very annoying, so it was impossible to have a pleasant conversation, Broly replied, imitating Tights with the stick. So, you didn't come here to kill us, asked Amori, who still believed a little in Jocko's words. No. I just want to live in a quiet and beautiful place like this planet. I have no reason to lie to you, Broly replied as he continued to jab Jocko with the stick. Broly, Tights and Amori continued talking for a few minutes. During that time, Broly told them that he had nowhere to return, and that he wanted to leave his ship on a desert island of the many that had, and live quietly. Tights, as usual in his family, offered to stay with her, but Broly rejected it, saying he didn't want to be a hindrance, but promised to visit them someday. After they gave him some advice about life on Earth and how he should behave, Broly said goodbye to them. Nice to meet you, Tights and Amori. I'm sure we'll meet again, enjoy the rest of the day, I have things to do for now. Goodbye, see you soon, said Amori and Tights, greeting him. Hahaha, this has been fun, and also quite productive too. Broly was not just talking and having a little fun, during the time he was having fun teasing Jocko. He also sent from his ship some small robots that were in charge of hacking Jocko's spaceship. Those robots were trying to find all kinds of useful information about the universe and the Galactic Patrol. He also installed a locator to find his headquarters in case he didn't find such information later, and sent several scanner robots, which were in charge of investigating Dr. Amori's time machine. I talked to someone. I hadn't talked to anyone for weeks. I laughed a little. I miss King Vegeta, he was so funny. I have established a possible connection with Capsule Corp in case I cannot carry out my plans by myself. I have obtained more information about the universe, in the event that it is not possible for me to do what I have planned. In addition, I have obtained the formula to stop the time. Not bad considering that I just arrived on the planet, hahaha. Well, I'm going to look for some island where to leave Kid for now. Then, I have to pay a visit to a certain Snoop. In a place in the sky of planet Earth, beyond the clouds. There was a strange floating circular structure, and on its surface, there were 2 strange beings. One of them was looking down quite worried, meanwhile the other approached him, noticing that something was happening. What happens, Kamisama? Something bad has happened on Earth. Is it about that mysterious person who arrived a few days ago from space? No, Mr. Popo, it's not about him. Although that person has caused some problems, he also managed to solve some others. Because of his actions and conversations, he doesn't seem that he came to Earth with bad intentions, rather it is quite the opposite, apparently he has come to save us from a threat. In addition, his power is quite similar to mine, we can stop him if he turned out to be a threat. The problem is what just arrived now, said Kami, while still watching the arrival of the mysterious alien. Mr. Popo worried and asked, is he an evil person? I don't know yet. I don't notice an evil aura of him. However, by the conversation of that strange person, it seems that he doesn't come here with good intentions, and that he belongs to a very violent race, although he doesn't appear it, he has a very calm heart. However, I notice he has only shown a fraction of his power, but that small fraction is thousands of times greater than your strength, Mr. Popo. There is no one or anything in this world that can stop him if he wants to do some evil thing. Mr. Popo, who understood how terrible and uncertain the situation was, asked, what should we do, Kamisama? There is nothing we can do. The only thing we can do now is pray, Mr. Popo. Pray that he really does not have bad intentions and didn't want the destruction of our planet just like that strange person says. At least I hope he doesn't destroy the Earth completely and that he doesn't find our location. If not, it will be impossible to bring anyone back to life with the Dragon Balls, and I will have failed in my mission of Kamisama. Because this time there is no one who can stop him, as happened with Great Demon King Piccolo centuries ago. Popo, with cold sweat on his dark face, continued looking at Kamisama, which didn't take his eyes off the little alien with 3 eyes and monkey tail. Until... no, that cannot be. Impossible! Screamed Kamisama. Mr. Popo, incredibly terrified, worried, and alerted by Kamisama's reaction, asked, "What happened, Kamisama?" Kamisama fell back in his tracks because of fear and said, "He has seen me and he's coming here." If you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later, bye bye.